director Jonas, and the country manager, and Roberto, and Shazid, dear colleagues, habari zenu. Nimefurahi kuwa hapa leo. Mimi ni balozi wa Hungary. My Kiswahili, I speak a little bit. Ninasema kidogo, si vizuri sana. But I will continue in English. And I'm very, very happy to hear all these speeches and the previous speakers, what they mentioned. Very interesting, from the colleague from Congo, from Bangladesh, and Italy, and Kenya, everywhere. I would like to say a few words about the social entrepreneurship, and I'm very happy for Dr. Jonas and Tangaza University for organizing this event, because I think the way out of poverty is social entrepreneurship. So I didn't bring a slide, but I would put the basis of our development and our well-being on 3 pillars. And they're all equally important. The first one, I would say, is the morality and value system of the individual. The second one is education, and the third one is hard work. And I'm going to expand on these, and I put them in this order on purpose. So morality and ethical system, the value system, this is the first thing we acquire from birth, first from our family, then the community, and then our religious spiritual life. So this is what defines us a person. And this is the basic foundation of everything we do later. Because what is education and hard work good for if the mind is wicked? So what we learn at home, in the church, or it can be a temple or mosque, is how we are going to approach later our university education, our work, our colleagues, our entrepreneurial activity. My parents always used to tell me when we looked at our neighbors in Hungary. People are the same everywhere. We look and the neighbor has a bigger car, nicer garden. And I always said to my parents that I want to have a bigger car, a nicer house than my neighbor. And my father told me, no, Zsolt, this is not right. You should always try to have your neighbor live a bit better off than you. And at first I didn't understand. So you should always strive to make your neighbor a bit better off than you. And then later, I didn't understand why my father is saying that he should live better, bigger car, bigger house than me. And later I started to understand that if everybody lived by this value system, by this motto, to make our neighbors live just a bit better off than us, then we would have a very, very good society. And I would say we would have a just society. I'm not saying we would have everybody having a helicopter, but everybody would have a very good life. And which is better, that you live a good life and your neighbor lives a good life, or you live a very, very good life and your neighbor is a poor, a beggar, somebody has nothing? So you can't enjoy richness if you live among poverty in your neighborhood. You can only enjoy material wealth and also spiritual wealth if the people around you enjoy the same. So that is why the basis of everything is to make your neighbor a bit better off than you. And if you approach business like that, you will, by nature, become a social entrepreneur, because you are not going to underpay your employees just so you can have 10 shillings more for yourself, but you will employ them at a fair wage. The second basis of everything is education. Without education, no matter how you try, your chances are limited. So that is Hungary, as the government of Hungary, and I'm the representative, we put a huge emphasis on education. Hungary has nothing compared to Kenya in perspective of natural wealth, minerals. So when I actually came here 10 years ago, I thought God created paradise based on Kenya. It was my first time in Africa. So the resources, the conditions here are 20, 30 times better than in my country. So the only thing we have is our brains. So our government said, we will train our people, we'll educate them, we'll make very high quality education, we'll make it free for everyone, we'll make sure that everyone has the chance to get educated, and then we will improvise based on what scarce resources we have, and we'll try to do our best. And that is why Hungary, the largest export product is education. And we are the largest educational partner of Kenya from the whole world. We give 210 scholarships to Kenya every year, full scholarships. Undergraduate, postgraduate, graduate. So for you as well, this is open. PhD, every level, every field, medical, engineering. You can apply from November through the Minister of Education website in Kenya, education.go.ke. So every year we give 200 to Kenya, and we give 15,000 scholarships around the world to everyone. And we have noticed that education has two elements. First, you learn the professional stuff, so you become an engineer, a doctor, a trainer. Yeah. And the second, almost as important, or not even sometimes more important, is the networking part. You meet people you would have never met, you create friendships, sometimes even long-term relationships, marriages. You get to know people, get to know ways of living, you become more tolerant, more appreciative. So I would say that 80% of what I have in my life I can attribute to these complementary things I got through education. So I met my wife thanks to the university. The languages I learned thanks to the travels I did during university in exchange programs. I met people who I'm friends with whom we did business later on, so business relations developed through this. So it's not only what you learn in the classroom, but also what you learn in the cafeterias and outside. So that is number two. But education can only go and combine when you have a stable moral and value system. The third one, hard work. So if you have a good value background, you have the education, then you still have to work. And it's very competitive everywhere, Kenya, everywhere. So if you combine these three and you work based on your value system, which we hope is a sound system, then you will achieve a just society and social entrepreneurship by yourself, so without having to add additional components. I give you an example of a Kenyan-Ethiopian businessman. He's based in Kenya. I'm not going to say his name, let's see if anyone knows. He has 3 cafeterias, one in Lavington, one in here, and one in Diani. He's a businessman, but he was also raised and studied in Europe, but came back. He created a coffee house, and he's hiring only hearing impaired people, only deaf people from here, the Karen Institute of the Deaf. He's employing about 60, 70 people here and a few in Diani. And why is he doing that? Is he a social entrepreneur? No, he said he's not. He's just a person who wants to do business, make a cafeteria. He said he got annoyed that every time he went to art cafe and people are always coming and, are you satisfied? You want something more? And he said he wanted someone to leave him alone. So that's why. Yeah, so he honestly told me that he's not this save the world type of person, but he has always, because of his family background, he had people with disabilities in his family, so he always cared about people with disabilities. So he said, let's try to work with hearing impaired people. And now, after about 4 years of operations, he says he doesn't even want to work with anybody else, just hearing impaired people, because they are so grateful that somebody actually takes them into a human being and it gives them a job opportunity, that they work double as hard as a healthy person. He can leave 5,000 shillings on the table, they're not going to touch it. Because they know these people that if they steal 1 shilling and they lose their job, they will not have a second chance. They have nobody else will employ them, unfortunately, or very few people. So he is an entrepreneur, and he's making actually more money than if he hired healthy people, because he's doing a good service, so people come because of the quality of the food, and some people come because of the social aspect to support, just like me and my embassy staff. It's close to the embassy, so I do the embassy events at this coffee place. But I'm not giving charity, I'm not giving free handout. So if you do a good service, I go there, but if the coffee is cold, I'm not going to go there. So we treat them exactly the same as anybody else, any other coffee shop. And our government supports such initiatives. which are based on a business idea, but in a positive, we could say socially responsible manner. So we have such projects. Even Tangaza University, we supported the refurbishment of the building, the halls and meeting room next one. So we do not give free handouts. We believe free handouts don't serve the purpose. We support such initiatives which are business-led, but also they have a social element. And it doesn't have to be just because I want to save the world and cherry NGO, but like this gentleman, he admitted openly that he's doing it 100% pure business, and this makes business sense for him. So this is a social, responsible business by itself. Then I would, just to finish off, I would like to tell another story about how education leads to social development and to the betterment of a living. We had a young gentleman studying in Hungary. He studied environmental sciences at the university. But what's interesting is not what he studied. But when he goes to Hungary to the universities, he sees there are a lot of disabled people, both physically and mentally, together with the students. And all the entrances, and they're made accessible. And our banknotes, they have these braille writing, so if you're blind, you can see if you're paying a 50 shilling or 1,000 shilling, you don't confuse the two bills. So all these, and he realized that people with disabilities are being productive addition to the society. And he came back, and he's from Migori County, from a small village in Migori County, and he had in his family someone with a serious disability. And the society was trying to hide this person. It was kind of like a taboo, like a shame on the family, like we have to, move. That people were stigmatizing the family and that person. And what he saw in Hungary, that these people are actually being used in a productive way in the society. They get employment in a way where they can. He started to be an activist, this gentleman. And he is now trying to change the mentality, first in his home village and the surrounding, the community, and he's bringing change himself in here from what he saw, and not during his studies, not in the classroom, but outside, how people with disabilities are treated. And he is a very, very active person, and we support him, but it's very nice to see that he is the lead in this. So me, I go to this Migori County as a Muzungu Balozi. People don't take me seriously. They cannot associate with me. But with this gentleman, they can associate because he's one of them from that village. So it's very nice, this kind of change that this interchange brings. And I can also tell you the other way around. I came to Africa 9 years ago, and my children were born here. Every time we go back to Hungary after 2 weeks, they tell me, "Daddy, let's go home." So they want. And I came here, sometimes Europeans come with a set of ideas and mindset that we are going to lecture, like now I'm lecturing, and others will listen and we'll show everybody how to live. And now after 9 years, I can tell you that I have come here with this mindset, but I think Africa has changed me much more than how I have changed Africa. So when I go back, I also try to do what this gentleman from Migori, to change the people's mindset about Africa and tell them that there's a lot we can learn. For example, the interpersonal relationships, how people relate to each other, how people try to, different people here, different ethnicities, religions, languages, tribes, how they live in more or less peace. My country, I used to think it's a multicultural country, but it's a completely homogeneous country. We have one tribe, one language, everything is one. So it's a lot of things we can also learn, and I'm not just saying that it's one way or the other, but if you have a good sound background, family, spiritual, moral, and you build on that with education, you can achieve a lot. And that is why I think Tangaza University is a very good basis, because it gives you all three of the world. So thank you very much, and good luck with your future endeavors.